Also, there's no the in front of Lackadays. It's just Lackadays.
I keep saying the Lackadays. It's just Lackadays.
If you want to, you can, but that's just
like Foo Fighters.
It's like Foo Fighters. Yeah, the Foo Fighters. You can say that, but
it's not right.
They're just fighting Foo, bro.
Okay. So, and you guys are just Lackadays. Cool.
We're just running out of time. We're running out of time.
That's it. All right. Since we're running out of time, welcome back to Clubhouse Chronicles, the place where the Central Illinois music scene gets loud, proud, and unfiltered. I'm Twitt, your host with the most, ready to spin you the stories, the sounds, and the struggles behind the bands that are making waves right here in your backyard. That's right. This show is powered by our friends over at Broken Record Music Club, bringing you music for whatever you are going through. With that, let's buckle on up because this isn't just a podcast. It's your front row ticket to the heart of your indie music scene. This week on the Clubhouse, we have an indie band that just popped up on my radar, like literally a couple weeks ago, like a little poof, and suddenly they were there with an absolute fucking banger of a song. This band hails from Champaign-Urbana, riding the release of, again, their absolute banger of a song, Sunkissed. I'm talking about the wacky, wonderful tunes of Lackadays. And I was scolded earlier. I can't say the Lackadays. So
you can.
For all of you out there listening, it's just Lackadays.
Lock in.
Lock in. Be better. But welcome to the Clubhouse. Michael Amberg, who is on lead vocals and rhythm guitar, Angelo Babista on bass, Jameer Aloya on drums. The other Lackaday could not make it here today, and that is Camille Morawa, and he plays lead guitar. But welcome to the Clubhouse, everyone. Thanks for coming to hang out today and talk about everything Lackadays.
Hello. Yeah, this is a pleasure. It's really cool.
I just want to say, as we were queuing up to record, exceptional energy in this chat right now. We're just good vibes. We're going to talk about some ARGs. Didn't think you would talk about that today, did you? But we are, and we're going to talk about just all the great stuff that our friends the Lackadays are. I said I got to be better.
I'll see you later.
Well, I'm out of here. Yeah. You fucked it up.
No more ARGs for you. No more.
Oh, shit.
You're not canon anymore. You're not.
I just got written out of the ARG universe for the Lackadays. Literally Thanos stamp.
Gone.
Let's just dive right into it, huh? So you guys got your start as a band in 2023, but really, where did it all start for each of you? Did you guys start young in music, or was it something that you, as you grew up, you kind of fell into?
Good start.
Yeah. So my dad is a huge musician. He's a guitarist and he is a drummer. He grew up around music because he was like a church guy. So he played out in his local churches and whatnot. And when he went away to college, he eventually started playing out in the Ohio State area because his friend Troy went there. So he lived with him for a while. And so he got his start in music, and that sort of got passed down to me. And my mom always wanted a kid that played piano. So when I was 7, I learned piano, and now I love piano. But my dad eventually was like, you need to learn how to play guitar because it's the cool instrument. I was like, all right. So, but really, my love for music stemmed from piano and, more importantly, just writing songs on piano. And I've always been just playing and singing since as long as I can remember.
Dad lore kind of goes crazy there.
Dad lore goes mad crazy.
Yeah, his dad's
like his dad. Outside of myself.
Yeah, me personally, I started on piano like when I was 5 or 6. I'm like kind of the only like music guy in my family. But yeah, from like first grade to like 7th grade, just piano. And then I was like, I hate this because like sheet music kind of sucks. And so like I took a break from piano for a bit, and then I picked it back up again, and like from there I got into music production, and like those two kind of just worked hand in hand, where like I'd have an idea, I'd put it onto like a recording, and oh, that's a thing. And that kind of worked out because last year I placed second in the remix category for Almier, like the high school like music association thing. And then I placed third in Lackadays, or third in rock band for Lackadays. But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'm majoring in like music production, music tech, and like I'm kind of putting all my coins in this whole music thing. But yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah, my story is a lot similar to Michael's. My dad was very into music all his life. Like he always did like he's from the Philippines. So he always did music stuff over there. And even when he moved over here and like got his like actual job, he never like let go of music, even though like he doesn't do it for a living. And it kind of got passed down to me. I don't even remember how it started because I've been playing drums like as far as I can remember. Like there's like pictures of me as like a 2-year-old and like some small drum set my dad bought me. So I've been doing it pretty much all my life. Yeah, it would just be like earlier on it was just like small things. Like my dad wanted to like play a little thing. He like tried to teach me like whatever he knew. And then he enrolled me in like some like drum lessons. So I got to learn some like I got to learn how to read sheet music, even though I don't really do that nowadays. Like I got to learn like basic rudiments, kind of like more proper technique stuff. And then in that same place, I was able to play in like a band setting for the first time. Well, that's a lie because I technically have with like my family, but like people other than my family, I was able to do that. So I did that for a few years, and I stopped doing lessons, and I just started drumming on my own, pretty much. I made YouTube drum covers for a while in high school. I would cover. It was mostly like anime songs because that was the stuff I'd listen to, anime songs, and then like a lot of Foo Fighters tracks because I really like Taylor Hawkins. And then I met these guys, so now I play for them.
And then for Camille.
Oh yeah.
Speaking on his behalf, Camille, from my understanding, started out on like classical piano.
Insane at piano. Oh my god. We have 3 pianists in our band and no one plays keys. But I'm a classically trained pianist. He's a trained pianist. Camilla's like a classically trained pianist because his mom plays piano and he's insane. And then he got a guitar because he found it in his basement and it's like his uncle's, and low key, it's like complete dog shit. And we really need to buy another one because it keeps breaking on the tuning pegs. But that's besides the point because he has like emotional attachment or whatever. And he was like, whoa, this guitar is really cool. And then he started learning guitar, and he's recently been into like Hispanic music. So he loves his like flamenco stroke and his just
he's like crazy on like the prog shit.
it's really,
Like
yeah.
you know Animals as Leaders, you can do that like the thumping shit, and it's so weird. But like his classical background for sure just like seeps into just like his practice like ethic, and so he's
technically really sound.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Just like a little bit of wild card though.
Oh yeah, no, he's really freaky. Yeah. Oh, I also forgot to mention I'm also a classically trained percussionist. That's another thing that I didn't know we were bleeding into high school. But yeah, throughout my high school career, I was a percussionist for a while, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I played bass in freshman year.
I think
Let's go.
I think Kamal started guitar freshman year as well, like freshman 8th grade.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's kind of us.
Yeah.
Very musically rich backgrounds. That's classically trained. I wish I was classically trained in something.
Well, okay, we're
silly.
like kind of classical. They're like a little bit. Camille is classically trained. He's like I will play you Chopin, and then I'll stare at you the whole time, and
he'll hit like this.
and he'll look at you the whole time. It's hilarious, and he does it, and he's like, he looks like he's about to poop himself, and he's like, ah! But he's doing it perfectly. It's crazy.
Shout out Camille.
But yeah, that's us for the most part.
So you guys did all this music in high school. What finally brought you together as a band, or what was the driving force?
Can I please? Okay. So freshman year was COVID. Bummer, ass, horrible. And then Jameer and I met freshman year because we both solve Rubik's cubes. And he was solving a Rubik's Cube. And I was like, whoa, I do that too. And he's going to say, I'm better than you. And he is what? Oh, I was solving a Rubik's Cube? Oh, well, we solve Rubik's cubes, and so we were like, let's be friends. But he didn't say that. I said that. He was just like okay. So we became friends through that. And then sophomore year in gym class, I looked across the room and I saw a man with dark hair playing soccer indoors, and I looked at him and I said, wow, what a man. And I went over to him, and he was silent as always, as he always is. He was wearing a black mask in his gym uniform. And I looked at him and I said, I'm going to be your friend. I didn't actually say that, but we met in gym class, and we were like, let's like make some music, because he was friends with a guy that was our drummer, but we don't talk about him anymore. And then me, Camille, and Jameer made a cover of Are You Mine that is legendary to our band because of how bad it is. It's me singing in a British accent, an octave down from the original. I learned how to sing, luckily. That's good. But it's like it's not like Ableton files. It's just 3 videos, like kind of synced up poorly. And it's like really funny. So that's how we got Camille in the picture, because Camille knew Jameer through elementary school. He just known him. And so Camille knew Jameer, and then we made the Are You Mine cover, and then we started making a band. And then we started playing with Jameer because of a talent show we had. We did Can't Stop with my band director. And he sang, and it was really bad, and it was really funny, and we rushed the whole thing. And then that sort of solidified our little band. So we had to be like, sorry, other drummer, bye. And then we chose Jameer because the vibes were immaculate. And then we did another talent show our senior year and played Everlong. And then we got like half the popular vote and won. And it was low-key also bad. It was, the vibe was immaculate, though. The vibe was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think like off that like first Can't Stop, like, excuse me, shit show, it was like, man, we really like performing.
It was really fun.
Like I remember like walking off the stage and like into the hallway and just like jumping for no like reason. I was so pumped. It's like, man, I feel cool. And like I'm sure these guys have their own like little feelings about it. But like I'm sure it didn't sound great, but like I felt great. And that's all that really matters.
Anything on it?
Drum, hard, hit. Next.
That's all drummer says. Drum hard, hit.
The guy, what's his name?
Jump hard, hit.
The like tornado, he's like always like angry.
Oh yeah, the
red guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one's fire.
It's the red Muppet that's always mad.
Yeah, that's me.
Animal.
Is it
His name is
Animal?
Animal. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's me. It is Animal.
It is. Wow, I'm nuts. Anyways.
Sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it was a good time. I don't know. I don't know.
Shit was sweet.
We practiced in my basement, I guess. Yeah.
His basement's lit, and then his dad bought us Costco pizzas. It was cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he fed them.
Yeah.
He's supposed to feed me, so
It doesn't really count.
I don't know.
All right.
So you guys go from these talent shows where the self-quoted shit shows, as you guys said.
Not that bad.
They weren't that. It
But,
was
like on like phone camera quality. Like what are these kids doing?
also we got a lot better. So it just sort of like in
Yeah.
comparison,
I don't
a
know.
lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right?
Real.
And
Thank you.
as a band, you guys did get your start that year with your album Drive Safe, Much Love. What was it like? Like, okay, so you guys finally got all together as a band. What was that decision like to, hey, we want to actually write our own stuff and record it and put it out for everyone?
I had that year, I had a big, I've always loved Dayglow, the artist. Like that's one of my favorite artists, like growing up, like especially in middle school. Like that was a big thing for me. And I had this like phase like that year where I'd only write something that sounds like Dayglow. It was like plagiarism, bro. Yeah, this was after Can't Stop. And Angelo and I are starting to like write music together. And one day I go over to Angelo's house and we sit down on his couch and he's like, dude, you got to stop with this Dayglow nonsense. And I was like, dude, I don't know how. I'm like, it's in me, man. I can't. And
I can't stop.
I can't stop. And he was like, just like, And I sat there, and he had a bass in his hand, and I had a guitar in his hand. And literally, what You're Out There was written in like 1 minute. Like, I sat down, I put a capo on the second fret, and I was like, whoa, dude, wait, what's happening? And it just it came through me, man. It's out of me head. But it's sort of like, I feel like our writing processes have always been not about, oh, we're gonna do this project. It's always been, I'm a storyteller. That's like, I see music as just a vehicle for that. I'm an English major, so makes sense. I love storytelling. I want to write a book when I grow up. I want to write as many as I can. I want to write. And so for me, it's just about what's happening that I want to tell. And in that moment, it was just something that wasn't me trying to pretend to have an emotion of like, oh, this song reflects what I'm doing, therefore I'm going to try and make something like it. It was me simply sitting down and going, this is what I feel. And from that point on, Angelo and I sort of had this realization of we make each other better and we constantly strive to become better. And this whole project was us realizing just what we can do together. And parts of that project were rushed. We put a deadline on ourselves, and then we wrote a song in a week, and it was the best creative process ever. The song's mid, but it sort of gave us a chance to like not solidify our sound, but just let us like find out what exactly we can do and what we want to do. And I think that was always very important. And really quickly, before anything else, I wanted to touch on the name To Drive Safe, Much Love. That comes from, I used to have a big problem saying I love you. So instead, I always say much love. And that was a big thing for me. It was like, oh, much love. Like, that's me trying to say I love you. And Angelo doesn't really like saying it either. So he always said drive safe, even when he'd be the one that was leaving. So like, he'd leave my house and he'd go drive safe. And then I'd say much love. But it sort of became this like way for us to tell each other, like, I care about you and I want to create this with you. And that's where everything else has sort of come from, which is nice.
Yeah. Speaking on You're Out There specifically, because we kind of just sat there. It was like the first song we wrote as a band collectively. Because we did that all in Jameer's basement.
Yeah, we literally went over to
10
minutes later. 10 minutes after that conversation, we went to his house and then we practiced.
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, my thought process was like, let's just make something that like people haven't heard before. Cause like I'm like, people have heard Dayglow, people have heard XYZ. Just like I wanted to make like Lackadays music, whatever that means. And like I've just been carrying that through with like the rest of like the songs that we've been working on. But yeah, like I want to do my own thing. Any thoughts?
That project was probably the first time I wrote drums, like, because I did covers, yeah. So I would just learn a bunch of different songs. Occasionally, I would do covers, and I'd like overplay, is what I'd say, where I just like add a bunch. Like I did, like my favorite one would be like I covered Viva La Vida by Coldplay. The drums in that are just 4 on the floor. Like it's like it's nothing real complex. But I did a thing where I combined the floor tom and then the ride cymbal, like ride bell, just hitting it normally and like using it as a crash. So I've always enjoyed like writing drums, and I think I was at the point where I was like, man, making covers is like boring. Not boring, but like I didn't enjoy doing it at some point because it's like, oh, now I'm just looking for a perfect take, and I'm just getting mad at myself instead of actually having fun. Yeah, I started like they sent me. I think you sent me a draft of You're Out There before you.
The first one.
Yeah. Yeah, Angelo wrote drums on that, and they weren't that good. I don't know. You had some weird like obsession really with like using rims. Like I was just like, why'd you do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I totally remember this.
It was so bad. The rim drums.
Yeah, yes. You just used them a lot, and I'm like, this is interesting. But I made it more like. I think you're just thinking too hard.
Yeah, I was like, what if I make this so Lackadays?
Yeah, no, drums, like for me, drums are very simple. Like they are just what they are. Like if I had to think hard about it, I'm probably doing something wrong. But no, I think I just like sent a video. Like I just made a drum cover of it, but except I wasn't covering anything. I just wrote some stuff, and then I sent it over, and then Angelo transcribed it into MIDI the best he could because we can't record live drums. We're kind of broke. We were also in high school at the time.
Yeah.
Balling on a budget.
Falling on a budget.
So did you record the whole thing on your own then?
Yes. You're out there. It's just a dry guitar signal mixed with like a chorus effect on Ableton.
Yeah, it's like
And then, I mean, the bass was like through an amp sim, but I didn't know how to use the amp sim. So it kind of sounds like the You're Out There bass, which isn't good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But we do everything in house.
Yeah,
Like
it's pretty much it's like a bedroom operation.
Yeah, the bedrooms too.
Yeah.
We fused our 2 desks at
In our
at college. Yeah, they give us 2 beds and 2 desks because they hate us.
What?
And
what are they supposed to give you?
more.
Yeah, small.
I'd like 3 beds, no desk. Desk on the side, extra desk.
Like 2 beds, 2 guests.
But like we decided to fuse our desks together, and then I stole 2 studio monitors from. I didn't. I asked, but stealing is way funnier to say. But I asked my dad. I was like, "Hey, you don't use? I have a music room in my house because my dad, like, he's like, I have my electric drum kit, and I have the piano that you play that's also electric, and then we have guitars from when I was a man, yeah." And he also has these 2 studio monitors that we really like. And so I took them, and now they're on either side of this desk. So this is 2 desks, and we call it Mega Desk. But he mixes in here, and we also do some vocal recording in here. But we recently discovered like a vocal booth thing that you could just rent out for free here. There's multiple, but the first one we tried was like way too much effort to like acquire. And so we found another one, and we have like our own microphones and the bass amp and our own. It's a whole yada yada yada.
You have your whole in-house process lined up, and it worked. Shit, like Sunkissed came out, and I thought that it definitely showed how much you guys have grown as a band on all ends. It was. Oh, and then the song itself is it's a fantastic song. The riff at the beginning is like I can't get it out of my head. That's how addicting it is, like, and that's what like grabbed me, because I think that's how I found you guys. Like I was scrolling on Instagram, and then I came across the algorithm hit, and I was scrolling. I was like, oh, and I listened because I just like listening to music, especially when I noticed it's a band from Central Illinois. And I heard that, and I was like, I'm in. All right, let's go. Follow, download.
Business is business.
But did your creative process change at all from that first project to Sunkissed? Or and even with October, because you have that other single as well, did it change at all, or did it improve in your opinion?
I think for me personally, like, because the production side of it, Sunkissed kind of came out of nowhere for me. Because, like, to not get too deep into it, like the summer prior, we started Sunkissed in August 2024, and then just the summer before, I was like getting through a breakup, couldn't write, couldn't produce anything. I was like, man, I'm so bad at this. And then I was at Michael's house, because as I do,
as we always are.
Yeah,
As we always are.
And like he just got back from summer camp. He's a camp counselor. Like he'd been gone all summer, and I'd just been like sitting in my room, the usual, the breakup feels, or whatever the fuck. And I was like, man, I can't write anything. I just need to like hang out. I need to take my mind off this whole debacle. And so I'm at Michael's house, and like I forget what I'm doing. And Michael picks up his guitar, and he starts playing a chord progression that we originally had for Drive Safe, but we replaced with that one song that we made in a week, Say Your Name. But it was like the remnants of an old song. And he was like, dude, what if we played it like Everlong? Like I think verbatim.
Also, but so what we were doing before this was drinking a bunch of yerba mates. So we had so much, and I don't drink caffeine, as you can tell by what I already am. It's not a good idea. So I'm hyped up. He's like, oh my God, you're finally home. And I was like, yo, it's what Sunkissed is. It's it's that chord progression in the verses. And it was initially played like Everlong, like the strum pattern. And it
was like a playing copy.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Yeah. Anyways.
I think like I was like, oh, that's fucking stupid. And I was like, fine, I'll record it because like I don't want to write right now, but like I'll just do it. And then I record it, and then he gets to the chorus section, or what we had as the chorus section before. It's like there's something here. And so I pick up another guitar, and then I come up with the riff. Yeah, it's like, man, this kind of fucks now. And so
it fucks.
And so we just like wrote out that momentum. The verses, like we wrote a second verse, and then like the first verse was just like deconstructed second verse, and then we like came up with the breakdown section, the da-na-na-na, and like we just like it was just like an outpour of like pent up feelings from me, because like I didn't write anything for like 2 months, 3 months, and like Michael's here, he's funny, he's a silly guy. It very much fueled by caffeine, and like it seemed to work kind of more or less. But yeah.
Oh yeah. So the whole process behind this song was like we're so up there, gang. Like very beginning, wow, up there, awesome. And about, I'd say like a month in, we're like yeah, we get to college. I'm having an existential crisis because I hate math, and we are trying to learn how to. So Angelo and I are roommates because we're like best friends.
We're acquaintances.
I just said we're best friends. This is really awkward now. We're trying to learn how to live together, and low-key, it sucks. This sucks. Just because, like, I mean, we're both boys, so like, it obviously sucks. Yeah, Jameer, we were gonna do a triple with Jameer. Honestly,
No, we weren't. I said no right away.
Yeah,
he was like, "Well," I'm like, "I'm okay."
but we can write music. And so we're trying to learn how to live together. I initially wrote in the da 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 da. That breakdown section was initially not a lead guitar, it was a vocal. But it was an A flat 4, so I can sing it now. However, at that speed, it was like at the time like impossible. And I've gone through a lot of like vocal work. I'm in musicals now. I'm actually having a blast. But I've done a lot of like training to like be good at vocals, and I was having like an existential crisis as to if I'm a tenor or not, which is the most tenor thing a tenor can do. That's besides the point. But we're trying to learn how to live together, and it sucks, and we're like low-key like really pissed at each other, but we don't talk about our feelings ever. Man moment. And yeah, and Jameer's like the only thing that's like putting us apart from like fighting each other. And low-key, I was being a bitch because I am. And in December, we were like, oh, we're going to put this song out in January, or in like December to January.
So I think it was October, and I was like, I as a joke was like, oh, it's October, we should do something. And I was like, I'll put out the song in October, because at that point it had been a couple months.
Oh my God, that was the initial thing.
Yeah, it was October. But then halfway through, they were like, yeah, that's not possible. Michael was like, I just physically can't sing it.
Yeah.
So then we decided for December. As we know, that did not happen either. Yeah.
So in December, we were on winter break, and we reconvene, and Angelo and I are hanging out, and we're having like one of those moments as we do canon events. And we finally did a part where I sang the part right. That was the first time I did it right. And we played it, and I was like, this isn't it. Like, it was like, oh my God, like I did it. And I was like hyped up so much. I was like, oh my God, I finally got through it. And we played it back, and I was like, it doesn't work. And so what we decided to do was, Angelo and I are like, what if like we're so bad at making music? Why are we still doing this? Like, we should just give up. We shouldn't be doing this anymore. And then something like clicks. I tried the chorus was the riff originally, and it was me singing over the riff.
Yeah.
Why? The riff is so sick. So it became like, oh, the riff is like breaking up these sections, and it's the story of him growing up and trying to escape. Because the whole point of this story is he's like, it's all a metaphor for this girl, and it's Icarus flying to the sun, and he always burns himself up. And so I rewrote everything apart from the bridge. The bridge is the bridge and the outro are the only things that survived alongside the riff. And
the breakdown.
And like that little breakdown. But I rewrote everything, like all the lyrics basically. And I was like, this is what this song should be. And like I was like, I'm sorry, I've been a bitch and it's hard for us to live together and like blah blah yada yada yada. And something like made sense. And like I finally felt like this is the way I want to tell this story. Because this whole like album is just that we're working on is just incredibly important to me. Because like this character of Icarus was created because I have a bad tendency to do this. The whole point of the story is like it keeps happening and it keeps going on. And this is the first time this album follows like that cycle, and it follows the final time he goes through it and actually breaks it. Because October is the first song in the album. And it sets that loop of like, oh,
I can't feel happy without a relationship.
there you go. And so he's constantly like trying to get back with this girl, and it keeps looping and looping and looping. And then Icarus is like, oh, I keep flying to the sun, and then I keep falling, and then I keep flying and I keep falling. I keep reaching for this girl, and I'm never going to be with her. And it finally follows the fall, and it follows him realizing, wait, why am I actually doing this? This is really dumb. And it's really important to me. And so I rewrote it, and we recorded it, and we made it a song, and then it became an absolute banger.
Yeah, I like drove myself mad like mixing this, because I was like, this has to be like the best it can ever be.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much like of a difference between October and this track. It's all the mixing.
Yeah.
It's all the mixing.
It was just like,
Yeah.
it was like, it's fine.
Yeah, it was all the mix, because like I think for maybe 2 weeks it was all I listened to, which like not a good idea, not at all. I would like export like every little like change and like, oh, I'll boost this, I'll cut this, export. Guys, what do you think? They're like, oh, it sounds good. It's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. It sounds like ass. It sounds like ass. Yeah, but then I sent it off to like some like local producers and like some music friends, and I got some feedback. A good piece of advice that I got from actually like Tone Good Studio, the local studio. He was like, don't be afraid, man. It's like, make those big changes. And so I did, and it sounded good. I was like, hell yeah, I'm maxing out my compressors, but it sounds cool. And so like that was my journey, being like, how do I make this song like infinitely better than You're Out There, which was at the time probably my favorite song.
And then you just got to watch us lose our minds.
Yeah, I got to watch everything because I made
the third person perspective.
I made the decision not to live with them. I was like, I immediately, I think you guys are like, oh, you live? I was like, no, I'm okay. Yeah, I just write drums and stuff. So my stuff is really like, Michael's like, oh, Story of Icarus. I'm like, drum hard.
Next question.
No, but I guess the difference in this one is, yeah, Angela, like before I would just send a video or I'd play the drums in front of him when he came over to my house, or when I was at Michael's, we used the electric drum kit, and then he would convert it to MIDI. I finally agreed to get taught like how to like use MIDI in Ableton so that I can just write the drums in, because there'd be like, obviously like it's me playing and he's doing it, but like there'd be some things that like weren't the same. There was one thing in nonfiction in Drive Safe. It's a little fill in there, and it's like, yeah, it's extremely fast. Which, to be fair, I when I play it live, I probably do speed up the tempo on that part. But like it's double time. Yeah, it's double times, and I maybe I can play it. I'm not sure. I haven't tried, but it just isn't what I intended at all. So he taught me just like, oh hey, like here, it's like click here. That's a ride cymbal. That's a snare. Here's how you adjust the velocities. So I started doing that. Yeah, it's like for like drum triggers. But then we just plug it in and I do it as like a little drum set type thing. Like while I'm over here because we're in a dorm. We don't have like an electric drum set available. So that helps with getting like the levels. And it makes things a lot easier than me sitting in like a corner for an hour on the computer trying to write MIDI drums. I did do it one time. Yeah, we got this recently, so I didn't actually use that for Sunkissed. That was all MIDI. I think Angelo wrote some drums, like maybe like one.
I know. I wrote a lot of the riff section and the breakdown. And I know I wrote the breakdown because initially I had double kick in the breakdown.
God, yeah.
And it was really bad.
No, yeah. I think I came over. So they wrote it one day. I think it was you two and then Camille. Camille like dropped by. And then I came over the next day. I heard the drums. I'm like, you really went a little too crazy with this. I'm like, guys, drums is really simple. You don't have to. He'll send me like a draft of a thing, and there'll be drums. I'm like, oh, that's good. I was like, I'll like change this one snare hit. Like, I just pretty much just rewrote most of it. Yeah. Then from then on, every time they'd add something to the song, I'd either like go on BandLab. Like he'd send me an audio file, and I go on BandLab, and then I'd export the MIDI file right there, and then he'd put it in and then adjust it, or I'd literally just do it straight on the actual file. So that's like the difference between like You're Out There in October and then Sunkissed, and then pretty much all the songs that we've been working on is that I'm directly putting the drums in instead of just like sending a vid to Angela and then hoping he gets it right.
Also, we keep looking over there because we have a little progress bar, like little checklist. I don't know if it's visible on camera, but it's like it's like a tick.
Yeah, it's it's like a full. It's pretty much a progress tracker, and it has all the tracks by name, and then just like little check marks. Oh yeah, the fake like. Yeah, we have like fake code names for. I don't know. They're fun. But we always look up there every time we talk about the album. So if you look up there, like to the side randomly, that's why.
The album, then I didn't know there was a whole album coming. I figured you had more music coming, but I didn't know it was going to be like that. Yeah. So
it's a 9-track album.
We technically, I think the only mention of it is on the Instagram post where we announced we announced Sunkissed, like that it was out. Yeah. At the end, there's like a From Flame to Flight 2 and 9, something like that. That's like, I think that's the only mention of the album existing. Yeah. And it's not really an announcement, it's just saying words.
But it's called From Flame to Flight, and then it's a 9-track album. October is the first track and Icarus is the second, or Sunkissed is the second.
That's sweet. And I mean, it's perfect timing to talk about the album because like there's a lot of stuff that you've put out on social media that's like super cryptic. And I was doing my research on you guys and I was like, this is fucking cool. And I'm like going through your reels, and then I get hit with the reversed audio, and I'm like, oh well, now I gotta download it and flip it and then figure out what it's saying to me. Then prior to this, you told me there's 3 Canon reels, and I gotta go back through them, and then I could kind of get an idea. So I fucking love all this stuff. I think it's sweet.
I'm glad you watched through the entire thing of just the can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's canon, bro.
It's so stupid.
I remember when we recorded it as well. Like me and Angelo got food at some like, what was it? Some like chicken place over here, or whatever. And then Angelo bought a can of Sunkissed, and he was like, "I have an idea." I was like, "Oh no!" And we went back here. I just saw him like playing the Sunkissed audio and just doing this with his camera, like filming it. I was like, "This is crazy."
But yeah, you're saying, man. Dude, it's rough out here. Anyways, you're saying
these streets are ruthless. But the ARG stuff I love, and we briefly talked about it in the beginning, but I feel like it's something that can add so much to a project with like, especially when it comes to building a fan base, like getting people interested in different ways beyond the music is something that's not as tapped into as I think should be. I'm not going to make you reveal anything about your ARG because everyone who's listening should go and look at it and figure it out. But is this something that you plan to keep using like in all your future releases? And can we expect to see more as more of the album comes out?
I do want to use this medium just like to promote our music, because like for a while we've been so hesitant to do social media because we don't know what we want people to like see us as. And so part of it's like it's a fucking can. It's like it's a little silly. But on the other hand, it's like there's something to be said here. And I don't want like comedic aspects of our like social media presence to drown that out. Because we've seen some bands where it's like they post really like funny social media like content, but like
Then you don't listen to
one
their
listens.
but you don't listen to
You
their
just follow
songs.
them on Instagram.
You're just like, oh, they're funny, and then you don't
For
listen.
a laugh.
and so we've been trying to like establish a part of our brand where it's like, oh, there's a lot more under the hood. Because like I said this earlier, but like this is my like little break from like all the production side of it, where it's like I get to be a little silly. I grew up on like YouTube, like conspiracy stuff, YouTube like ARGs. I didn't mention this before, but before music production, I was really big on like film and like making short movies, and like it scratches that itch where it's like, oh yeah, I'm making something cool for future projects. I want it to be like a big overarching thing, because like luckily we came up with a name where it's like Lackadays. There's something to be said. I've been saying that a lot.
There's something to be said.
Yeah, there's
something to be said.
there's always more to be said. A little backtrack. The name. So we initially, or I think I found it off of, there's this one jazz standard called "But Not For Me," and the whole line is, "I was a fool to fall and get that way. Hi ho, alas, and also lackaday." So it's this cute little rhyme, and I think that just like matches the vibe of our band, of like, oh, we're a little stupid guy. We're just like we're just guys. But also like lately, especially now that I'm like pursuing music more or less as like an actual career, I feel like personally I'm running out of time to like make it big and like be able to support myself while still doing what I want. And so like let's make the theme running out of time.
We have a lack of days.
Yeah, it's like
I
it's
think
like
that's a record
like
label name. It's self-produced, so we can call it whatever we want. So it's called Lack of Days Records, and it's just really funny.
yeah. So lack of days, running out of time. That whole debacle. Just like a little time travel. A little bit of time travel. Little bit of timeline.
A little bit of nonsense.
Yeah, like a little bit of one of these.
There'll be a lot of
A little
dates.
bit of whiteboard. It's still very much in its like infancy stage, where it's like we have a groundwork of like something, but like it can go anywhere we want. I've been a little busy with the whole music part, and so school and music part, and so I haven't really like fleshed out like a good like proper thing. There's for sure more of that. It's just personally, because I also manage the social media account for the most part, it's a little discouraging to do that type of content, especially trying to grow, because it's like there's no like big hook. It's like, what's this guy doing off his webcam saying, oh, welcome to Icarus Reviews? It's like what kind of hook is that? If you get past that, if you're like trying to look at it, it's like, oh, there's something cool here, then it's cool. But like trying to like grow off that's kind of tough. And so lately we've been thinking more about just like, how do we just hook people in, make them listen to our stuff, and then if they really like our stuff, they'll look at the other stuff. There's little like treats.
That's where it gets tough as an artist, right? Like a lot of people are asking artists nowadays to be more than just a musician, more than just an artist. You got to be a content creator, and because you have to manage social media a certain way, like stuff like this that's really, really cool gets overlooked. I'm a firm believer that if you think it's fucking dope, then you should do it. Like we did an ARG with one of our former artists. Shout out to Colleen Wild, but we did this ARG where she got lost. She like disappeared, and we hung up these missing posters with like a anime style face of her around town, and there was a phone number on it, and if you called the phone number, it was a voicemail, and it was like it's super creepy ass voice, and it was like giving you instructions like if you text this word to this number, you will get, or you will help set her free. And then if they did it, then they got an advanced copy of their next single. And then you got to like, thank you. Yeah. So it was like, I love doing that type of shit. Like that was really cool. And it got a pretty good response. But for me, like all that stuff, like it clicks, like you were saying, Angela, like it feels nice in my brain. And I feel like I said, more people should be interested in this shit. Like this is not stuff that everyone's doing. So I think you should just stay the course. It'll catch on. You guys are still pretty young in the process of everything, you know.
In life.
Well, you guys were saying you're like, we're running out of days. Like, you guys, aren't you guys freshmen? Like, you guys have plenty of time.
Running out of time.
We're running out of time.
No, that's something I'll occasionally remind them of. I'm like, hey guys, hey guys, we got to college like 8 months ago. It's like you guys are like, oh, we're gonna fail, it's over. I'm like, we have like a good 3 years until we graduate college. I'm like, I don't know. I think we're doing pretty good.
We talked about a lot of different things. We got a project coming out. I don't know when to expect it. Maybe it's this year. Spring. There we go. Spring 2025. Yep. Beyond the new project, what else can we expect from Lackadays throughout the rest of the year? Anything planned? Anything that you guys are plotting, scheming?
Live stuff. For Lackadays specifically, we're applying for Bitter Jester in the summer. It's a little music festival for like smaller groups. Individually, Michael's in another band. You can
I also do. There's another local CU band I'm a part of. Their name is Parakeet. They want to start writing music. Yeah, I just play guitar. I play guitar, and I'll sing for them if they need me to. But yeah, my heart is here. This is the only thing that I like. But also in regards to Lackadays things, there is I am working on probably like an EP, but that should hopefully be done by the end of this year. Like, well, don't worry. I'll be cooking. I'll cook up a storm. But it's a lot nicer of an EP than the like violent craziness of this nonsense.
Yeah, this album's a little like, if you thought the jump from October to Sunkissed was like, not to spoil too much, but we have a piano ballad followed right by with like a Deftones adjacent song. And it's a little silly because I mean, right now we're in a spot where it's like a little bell curve where, like, you know, we have the nobodies and like the people who can do whatever the fuck they want, and then there's like the people in the middle who need to cater. We're right here. We can do whatever the fuck we want. I think this album is just like a show of hands. Like this is our versatility as a band, because also live we tend to like start off like a little calm and then go a little heavy.
But I also think that a large majority of like this album and the very jarring nature of it,
It's like 2 EPs in one.
yeah, the very like juxtaposed nature of it is it's just how we want to tell the story, and I think that's an important aspect of it. We don't need like a genre. That sounds pretentious, but like it's Lackadays. It's what we make. It's what we want to tell the story. This is how we do it. This is how I see the story, and this is how I want to tell it. And so it doesn't matter if it's like, oh, it's not all similar music. I don't fucking care. Okay. Fuck you. This is what I need to say.
Yeah, going back to like the stuff after, this project comes. Sorry, I just looked over again. Yeah, at least from my, it's like we've been working on this for. I mean, we said we first drafted up Sunkissed in August, and then if you really want to go back, October came out in May. That's a fun one. So like we've been working on this for a long time. Like I would say like this started like really forming as an album in like late September, early October, maybe late October. I don't know.
Wrote that one.
Yeah, that Deftones sounding song was written by Camille. It's my personal favorite, I think. We've been working on this for how long has it been? Since August? Like it's been about 6-7 months maybe. I think like with the whole like we want to focus on live stuff. Like writing, we might take a little break because we've been working on this thing for so long. I can like from like me not living with them, I can see when they're burnt out. It's very clear to me. So I think when this album is done, it'll be like a weight off of I guess all of our shoulders. Like I've been thinking about. I'm not just like an outsider. I do think about this album. I'm still here. Same with Camille. But like we like it'll be kind of like the weight off, and I think we want to. I think at least it'll be healthy if we enjoy not having that like, ooh, we need to work on something, we need to finish it, we have to make it perfect. Have some time to just do the more fun stuff, which would be trying to do more stuff live, and not like, Angela sitting at a computer listening to the same song for 2 weeks.
I'm just catatonic in a corner.
Yeah, Michael, like
this sucks.
So that's how I like. Obviously, I still want to work on stuff, but like, I think a break would be nice.
It's not like a hiatus, but just like a little pause.
Yeah, it's like we're not focused on a project. It's just like, of course, like I've been writing throughout this whole project regardless, but it's more just like, hey,
Things will happen.
yeah, things will happen as they happen. It's not like we're not putting the project on our wall and watching it. We're just chilling out.
Back to just like our individual like little things. Me and Jameer have been playing out with another local musician here. Sierra Segura. Yeah. What I close?
Oh, hey.
Yeah, we've been playing out with Sierra more lately. But yeah, there's that. Yeah, she's a homie. It's still in the talks, but I might be mixing for other bands. Maybe Parakeet, maybe possibly potentially. But yeah, just like little training arc
side projects before we go back to absolutely fucking the world up with our genius.
Yeah, I think that's. Oh yeah, and Camille's forming a Blono band. We didn't speak on this earlier, but like for the writing process, it's really tough to have Camille do stuff for us, or not like that, but like help write the songs because he's all the way over there and we're here. Right. And it's like it's a very spur of the moment thing, and it's like I wish we could have him here more because we end up getting songs like the aforementioned Deftones song, which like is a very, very, very fun one.
Yeah, but it's just for every project we have, he has something cooked up on the guitar, and then we're all like, holy crap, bro, why have you been keeping this from us? And he's like, well, I don't know, but he cooks up something always, and then we're like, this shit's awesome. But if he was here, then we could help facilitate his writing process, which I think would be pretty freaking lit. It is a primarily Michelangelo show. It's yeah, he does the production, I do a large majority of the lyric writing, and then we sort of cook on other things.
Like I wish we could write like just in a jam session, like You're Out There came out of like us in Jameer's basement, but like lately it's been more like, or like Michael's like, I have an idea, I'll play it out for you. It's like, oh, that's cool, and then I'll have him record it, and I'll just write stuff around that, and then like I'll tag in Jameer to do drums, and then that's that, and then vocals are there. But like for the future, I really just want like to write as a unit as opposed to just like as opposed to like a game of telephone where it's like intention gets lost in the way, because like sometimes we'll write And then like Michael will have melodies in mind while he's like strumming guitar, but like it'll get lost where it's like I might write too much that just doesn't work with what he had initially.
That's
And
what
so-
happened with Icar. That was the big problem with Sunkissed. That was the whole problem.
Yeah. And so it's like next projects we for sure want to write with vocals in mind.
Just together.
Yeah, and that too. But yeah.
The good thing is you guys have summer coming up, so you guys will all be back home together, and you guys will have that time to sit down and work.
It's going to be very nice. And we can finally focus on school when this is out. My grades are also fine. Yeah, he's in aerospace engineering. And then he's
A
a
fellow
music
engineer?
major, and I'm an English major. Oh, you're an engineer? Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. I would much rather
Right.
do music, but anyways,
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny that like I do the writing and he does the production, and I'm an English major and he's a music tech major. So it's kind of like
Mhm.
silly to think about.
process works. That's what
It ain't broke,
matters.
don't fix it.
Very excited to hear how the project is with all this range that you're talking about. I think it'll be a good story to the way you're describing it, Michael.
It is like a charcuterie board. It is. It's kind of like I've been comparing it. So I think personally the greatest album of all time is The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, and that album is also like a wild like arrangement of just nonsense that just is Gerard Way telling a story, and like that has informed a lot of my beliefs about storytelling, which is just if it works, that's what it should be. There is a piano ballad that Cancer is in that, and it's just like wildly different than everything else. There's like weird swing ballads. There's so many. It's also genius. It's just I love it so much.
Well, we are on our last two questions, and they're not super long, so just bear with me.
Let's see about that.
I ask these two questions to pretty much everyone who comes on our show, and I just like to hear the answers because everyone's is slightly different, but it's all relating to the Central Illinois music scene in general. So this first one that I'm going to ask you is, what is your favorite part of being in the Central Illinois music scene? You guys have been exposed to these house shows now. You've gotten a taste for it. What can you say your favorite part is so far?
I don't know. Like I love how it doesn't matter like who you are, like where you come from, or like how you present yourself. As long as your music fucks, people like you. And it's like it's very non-judgmental. And it's like okay, like we can play Mr. Loverman and people are like they just love it. And people are just like moving. And then we'll play like Everlong in the same set.
The same energy.
Yeah, and people just love it. And it's just like really rewarding to just like get that active feedback. It's also because like we're in a basement. It's like I'm no different than the person in the crowd in front of me. And so it's just like we're just making loud noises, and it's like this is really cool.
Yeah, I enjoy how like for the house shows we go, like you start seeing like similar people, so you start to get to know a lot of the people also in the scene, which I think is really nice. A, it's make connections, and B, it's like you get to meet a bunch of cool people, listen to a bunch of different songs. Because like house shows we've played, we've started seeing like similar bands, like recognizing people. So I enjoy that a lot because then like it becomes like a network of people, like a group of people that you just kind of like know, and you all play music, even if like you come from like all different places or you play different styles of music.
I love the house show scene. It's so much fun. Because Lamont is the most boring place ever. And it's like white suburbia. Down here it's just so lively. It's so much fun. Just getting to play out and see crowds go insane and just seeing people mosh and just people come out. Like, of course, you invite your friends and you try to invite as many people as possible. And you're printing out posters and you're like, guys, look at my door. Look at the blah, blah, blah. But you just see so many faces and you're just like, you guys are loving what we're doing. And just that response and that it really enforces us to keep going and to keep wanting to go, because I mean, it's such a good feeling. It's so good.
like there's a part of me that has some apprehension towards like playing bigger stages because I want to be on the same level as the people who are like in the crowd. Like I want to be face to face, being like, oh yeah, we joke about this, but our dream is either Grammy or Madison Square Garden.
Oh,
And so like I
Good
want
goals.
like yeah, obviously like I want people to like sing the bass line to You're Out There in Madison Square Garden. But like I do want to like I don't think I'll ever get tired of making eye contact with anyone in the crowd and like just going at it.
I like singing and looking at people, and then I'm like, then it's just like for that moment, like I connect with someone, and then you could just keep moving to different people, and you're like it's just it's you and that person in that moment, and I think that's also the importance of. I just totally flipped everyone off like this. That was crazy, but I find that very important, and I think you can get that on a big stage, but I like this, and I am very happy about this. And of course, eventually I want to keep going and keep moving and keep creating something that's better and doing better. But if this is where we start, this is a really cool place to start.
Hell of a place to start. Got a lot of stuff that like a lot of people don't have. Like when I was in school I went to school at Western Kentucky University. And we had nothing like this. Didn't know if there was anything like this, but I don't think there was. And I feel so robbed of such a cool experience now that like I've been to Blono at those house shows. I've been to different venues. Like I feel robbed. I feel cheated out of my college time. So
Yeah.
very good spot for you guys to be in, especially with so much time left and you're already playing at these house shows. So nothing but good things ahead.
It's all good.
This last question is always the toughest one and the most controversial one, but I'm going to ask you it anyway. Who are your favorite artists or bands in the Central Illinois scene right now?
I do really enjoy Manifest West and just like the image they have. They're just guys. They're cool. They're just cool guys. And they're just really fucking hilarious on stage.
Wolves inside you.
Wolf goes crazy.
It's
That
so
song
funny,
is
bro.
awesome.
I can't name too many off the top of my head, but like Stanchek, Daisy Chain. There's just so much like personality out there. It's personality, but they're also like people too, and it's like being able to just like be like chill with them and be like, hey, I like your shit. It's like it's a fun thing. Another like shout out to Sierra, obviously. I like what she's doing, and I'm playing bass for her, so it's like I have to like it. I don't mean that in any like disrespect, but like I do really enjoy playing her stuff. I don't know if they're like exclusively Central Illinois, but Labor Day I saw Free Joel play out in Canopy Club here. It's like I just love their image, their vibe. Like yeah, they're just really cool.
So I have a Free Joel story if you're interested. The
Hell yeah.
only time I've ever seen him live, I was at this show. I was working with a band, and it was a very weird bill. Like Free Joel was on this bill with a bunch of metal bands. And yeah, crazy vibes. Like it went from like screaming and moshing to Free Joel. Well, we're at this venue and it's the end of the night and we're waiting around to get paid. And they drove all the way in they're from Indiana. So they drove in from Indiana in their van. And the guy told us like, yep, didn't really make any money. You made like $6 or whatever it was. And so all the bands like, okay, well, how do we split this? We're like, well, let's just give it to Free Joel because they drove, so you give them gas. But we told them what we got paid, and the lead singer, I don't know what his name is, but he got fucking pissed. So he like went in the back and talked to the venue owner or whatever. And we go outside at this point. I guess he goes through like the stage, like he's walking outside, he's going through the stage, he rips off the fire extinguisher and just blows it on like all the equipment and shit. And then he like goes outside to the van and the owner called the cops on him. So the cops came and arrested him and took him to jail, and because for vandalism. And we're just like me and the band that I was working with. We're just sitting there like, dude, what the fuck is going on? This cop like just like turn around, like puts the cuffs on him, stuffs in the back. He has to tell the bass player like, hey, take the van to the police station, bail me out.
That aside, I just love their presence. Like their lead vocalist, just like insane guy. He was just laying on the floor on like for the crowd. We just circled around him. It's just like his band was going at it. He was there, just like, and it was a fun vibe. But yeah, that kind of checks out. But yeah,
One that comes to my mind, like the first house show that I ever went to, it was like Loose 9000.
yeah.
They just had a really good drummer. Ideally, I was like, this is where ideally I'd want to be at, because like I don't know, I just like his fills, like you go between like the snare and hi-hat. I was just like, man, I really fuck with that. I was like, that's like creativity I want to have on the kit. So that's one that comes to mind. At a recent show, we played with Sierra, me and Angelo. Liz Allen, you mentioned them earlier. They played, and the drummer she had was also really good. Like he was able to incorporate toms really well into all his grooves, and I was just like, this is some crazy stuff. So those are two that I look at drums a lot when I listen
I also
to music.
really like Liz Allen's vibe as well.
Oh yeah, it's overall just really good. But like that drummer, I was like, this is crazy.
Gotta shout out Parakeet. Love Parakeet. What a great vibe. What a great band. What a great time. I love Zen the Rapper. He has such a good vibe when he's like performing, and then afterwards, I remember I had like a 30-minute conversation with him about like morals and ethics and love, and like telling people that I love you. Like it's like people should say that more often to other people, and we were just having this like back and forth, this like crazy dialogue option, and it was so much fun. But he's such a chill guy, and I feel like he's a good head on his shoulders, you know, good dude just overall. And his music's also really fun. We were all chanting Larry Bird because that's one of his lyrics in one of his songs, and it was really funny. And then another one that I really, really like is Mulch. They're a blow-no band.
Mulch.
Just fantastic vibes, great music, great musicians. I got nothing else to say about them. I have a friend that goes to blow-no, not Camille though. She comes out to all of our shows, but she also sees Parakeet. Shout out Zoe. She does our album art, my queen. We went to high school together. She's also an English major. But she's a very good friend of ours. And she was like, you got to see Mulch. And they were playing out with Parakeet. And so I was like, all right, I'll play. And then I'll just listen to them. It's so good. It was so much fun just to watch them and seeing their interactions and just how they go about like performing was very informational to me.
And then one more. I do enjoy Spingo. They're also a newer band. We're playing out with them tomorrow night. Yeah, I will Spingo.
Oh, I have one more. This band called Lackadays. Stream Sunkissed now. But yeah, I feel like it's been very good for teaching us how to like perform and how to like be musicians, especially because I'm like a front man. So I have to like interact and be with the crowd and continue to, because it's not just about playing the music. Because if it was, they just listen to it in their headphones. It's about the experience that you provide. What do you bring that's more than the music? And learning how to interact with the crowd and things that make our music personal to them. And I think that's been something that we've begun to get really good at. And I think that's also why people are really starting to enjoy coming out to our shows.
Yeah, there's plenty of examples out there for you to model yourself after, or even just take what you can and apply it however you want to. So many great bands right now. And like I said, you guys have so much time to develop and become whatever you want. And
we have so much time. A plethora of days.
A plethora of days. Just a
Plethora
slight
days.
name switch. Like I said, that was our last question. I want to thank you three for coming on here, hanging out for a bit, talking about Lackadays and your ARGs and all the nonsense. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys stay up to date with our new friends in Lackadays. You can follow them on Instagram at Lackadays _. That's LACKADAYS _. You can find them on TikTok as well at the same handle. It's very easy for you to type this in. It's straightforward, guys. It's a couple letters, a lot of A's in there, and an underscore. Not super challenging, but with a name like that, go and do that shit. Help support them. And also, while you're at it, go stream Sunkissed. It's out on all platforms. It's a banger. That riff will get stuck in your head like it did with me, and you'll be hooked. So be sure to do that. It's going to be linked in the show notes. The band Spotify is going to be linked in the show notes for you to go and click that, and it'll take you right there. So you will like it. I can almost guarantee it. But just like that, that's our show. You've been hanging out with Clubhouse Chronicles, where the sounds are hot, the stories are hotter, and the vibes absolutely off the charts. Don't forget, hit up at Broken Record Music Club on socials for all the updates, news, and more on this podcast and our record label. We have some pretty awesome artists. Hopefully some additions coming soon. But Jenny Scara, if you didn't know, singles out now. Also, EP on the horizon. So you should probably check her out. Go stream her stuff. And there should be a new music video for Operator out floating somewhere on YouTube. So you should check that out. Speaking of our YouTube, if you're watching right now, thank you. Huge shout out to you. But before you leave, hit that subscribe button, please. It will definitely help the channel. And you can keep up with all the cool content we're going to be rolling out later this year. At the end of the month, we're going to be on tour with Jenny, and we're probably going to be posting some of the videos that we take with our time down in St. Louis and in Kansas City. So it'll be worth it, promise. But until next time, keep it loud, keep it proud, and remember, Central Illinois is where the music magic happens. Peace.